Hello everyone and welcome to another video by Centipede Geek. Today I have another book discussion video. My first one was the book Red Rain by the author R.L. Stine. Well, today in this book discussion video, I'm going to talk about the book Splatterpunks 2 Over the Edge. And if you don't know what Splatterpunks is, I'm going to explain it right now actually. So pretty much what Splatterpunks is, it was kind of a horror anthology book with all these different more than 25 different short stories ranging from 4 pages long to, 20 or 25 pages long, and all these sick and disgusting and vile and just terrifying and scary stories all comprised into one novel called Splatterpunks. And Splatterpunk is a term to describe a splatterpunk author, which would mean like Clive Barker is a good example. Very sexual, very erotic, very graphic. Clive Barker is a good example. And then there's other people that would also be great examples. Lots of profanity, nudity, just very, very graphic stuff. That's what a splatterpunk would be described as. Now, this one, there's been 2 of these, and the first one was, I forget what it was called, but Splatterpunks 1 consisted of mostly male authors, and it was written about male characters. Well, now Splatterpunks 2, Over the Edge, is female mostly. There's a few male. Clive Barker's also on this one. He was on the first one too. But in the second one, it's mostly female authors, and most of the stories are about female characters. And in this one, I believe there's 28 different short stories. And I think the shortest one is about 4 pages long, and then the longest one I think is maybe 23 or 26 pages. So you won't find any over 23 or 26 pages. And they're nice little reads because, you can take like 5 minutes out of your day to read a little 4-page short story, and some of them are quite good. I read one 7 pages, and for it only being 7 pages long, it's a really good short story. There's some good stuff in here. Recently I read Clive Barker's Scapegoat. It's about 23 pages, and that 23-page short story could be a full-length hour-and-a-half long horror film. So that's some good stuff in here. And what I'm going to do is this particular book discussion video will actually be divided up into about 28 different parts. I know it's a lot of parts, it's a lot of stuff, but I appreciate every one of you who actually will watch all the parts. But anyways, it's going to be divided into 28 different parts, 1 part for each short anthology horror story in the book Splatterpunks 2 Over the Edge. Like I said, it's all Paul M. Shannon is the one who put all this stuff together. And I'm going to go ahead and talk about the first story. On the front, we have a Stephen King quote on what he thinks about Splatterpunks. He says, "The most vile and visual horror coalition operating today." And then Fangoria, the horror website, says, "This anthology is better than its predecessor. Simon has collected 28 varied but consistently high-quality works. The stories are hip, relevant, deeply human, and even more deeply visual." And like I said, this was published in 1995 by Paul M. Shannon, and only 2 of these came out. That's all. There's not any more, and there probably will never be again. So cherish them while they last, right? So the first one, I've been reading these out of order because you don't really have to read them in order since it's an anthology. I've been skipping around, and before each short story, it gives you a little kind of biography or a synopsis about the author, where they're from, if they have a family, what they're writing about, and it kind of gives you a nice kind of little pun. It kind of lets you know what to prepare yourself for the story. It kind of gives you a little nice page of what the story you're getting ready to read is about. So I thought that was kind of interesting. So the first story is by an author. I don't know if you know her, but it's by a girl by the name of Wildly Patoid. I guess that's how you pronounce it. And she is I believe she's a French or a Swiss author. She's from Switzerland, and she's known for she was in her mid-30s at the time, so I'm guessing now she's a lot older than that. But she's famous for doing a lot of science fiction novels and that kind of thing. And this first short story, is a little over 7 pages long, and it was published first in the year 1992, and it's called Accident d'Amour, which pronounced in English to Accident of Love. And pretty much, I'm going to give you a little rundown of what the short story was about, and then I'll give you a little synopsis of what I personally thought of it. So, excuse me, my throat's getting a little dry. So, we have the first one, like I said, it's by Wildly Patoid, Accidents of Love, and I have to say, this is one of the most effed up stories I have read, honestly, in my entire life. It's only seven and a half, maybe 8 pages long, and for being that short of a story, it is graphic, it's gruesome, it's grotesque, it's disgusting, it's terrifying, it's just, eesh. It's something that, it's one of those things that will resonate you for a long time afterwards. You know, some movies, some books, some films, anything on the internet, just anything, YouTube videos, some things don't resonate with you. They kind of just, you watch it, you read it, it's done. Whatever, you forget all about it. This thing, this Splatterpunks 2 Over the Edge, you're not going to be able to forget about these stories within a day. They're going to stick you long afterwards. I can guarantee you that. So, anyways, the first one is about this woman. And the way they describe it is, here's actually what they describe. Here's what the exact words. I'm reading this straight from the page. This is how she describes her first story. She says, "This story is my way of telling what it's like not to be the right fuck when you're on the wrong side of the dick. No one has so far. They need to know." That's how it describes the first story. So, anyway, so pretty much it's about this woman, and she's having I'm kind of going to tell you what the entire thing's about, just so you guys can know. But anyways, you know, so there are spoilers here, if you have not read it. So anyways, so if you might want to skip over if you don't want to know, first few minutes or so. So anyways, we have this girl, and she's having sex with this guy, and this guy, while they're having sex, is picturing a different woman the entire time while they're having sex. He keeps calling her name, you know, and she just keeps calling her name, and she finally gets tired of it. She says, you know, fine, you know what? Go be with that girl. If you want to be with her so much, go be with her. So you know what? He does exactly that. She gets tired of it. She no longer wants any man to enter her vagina again. So you know what she does? She goes in the bathroom. She takes bleach. She takes a little metal bar or a scraper of some kind, and she starts to scrape off the sexual organs of her vagina. She starts to scrape off the clit and just you know, all that kind of stuff down there. She starts to scrape it off with the metal. She takes a needle and some thread, starts to stitch up her private area. Very gross, right? Well, you know, the thread starts to wear off after about a month, and after every month, because the short story takes place over a few months of time, probably 4 or 5 months of period in time, and every month it escalates, she'll take more thread and she'll just keep stitching it up to make sure that it stays shut and closed. And she'll go to different places, and she'll see her ex-husband with the girl that he was calling their name in while they were having sex and that whole thing. So she gets mad about that. Well, finally, she ends up finding out not too long later, 3 or 4 months later, that she's pregnant. Well, of course, because of what she's done to her private area, she's not able to have the baby that way. So around the end of the story, she's pregnant, and she ends up having the baby, and this baby ends up exploding out of her stomach, just exploding. And she ends up having like a creature of some kind. It's kind of hard to describe the way it's written. It's written in kind of a lyrical poem, really rhythmical kind of pattern, so it's kind of hard to describe what exactly she has, but it's some kind of creature that opens its mouth and has a beak of some kind. So she tells her daughter, I think she names her Kate or something like that, so it starts with a K. She tells her daughter, hey, go fetch my husband. I want to have one last word with him before I die, because she's starting to rot. You know, her lower part's starting to rot and that whole thing. So anyways, the creature brings him the husband. And pretty much the last part that happens, this is where it gets, if you thought the first part was really twisted and effed up, you haven't seen nothing yet. So pretty much what happens is this creature bites off, rips off the penis of the male character and helps the woman insert it into her vagina that's all stitched up. Disgusting, weird, perverted, yes to all 3 of those questions. That's pretty much the plot. It ends with her saying, I hope you have a good life, daughter. That's pretty much the end of the first story by Wildly Betoid, titled Accidents d'Amour, once again translates to the English language of Accidents of Love. So I have to say, after reading this, my exact expression was, what the did I just read? I haven't read anything this weird or grotesque or nasty or disgusting in a long time. Now I have to admit, Clive Barker's, if you ever read his book, The Damnation Game, it's disgusting, but nothing like this. Like, it's disgusting in like an erotic and tasteful manner. This is like disgusting in like a shockful manner. Now there are some symbolic and some like reasonable undertones, like this is what like a woman that has been driven to madness by a guy that no longer loves her. This is what it can cause her to do. So there are some undertones that I do enjoy, but overall it's pretty much like a all for shock kind of book. They're going for shocking, and if you don't like that kind of, if you don't like the erotic kind of stuff, then you really want to stay away from this book. But overall, I really enjoyed the first story. It got on the verge of like, if you ever seen the movie directed by Lars von Trier by the name of Antichrist, starring Charlotte Gainsbourg and then William Dafoe, if you ever seen that, it gets on the verge of that kind of movie, except translate an hour and a half movie into about a 7 or 8 page little short story anthology horror novel, and it's actually really cool. It's creative. Like I said, it's written in kind of a poem manner, so after every paragraph or so, it'll have the words "I hate," and so it's written that kind of way, so it's very crisply written. It's very, very, very descriptive. So if you don't want to know the details of what's going on, once again, stay away, because it's very descriptive. You're going to know exactly what's going on. One thing I like about it is, I like how twisted it is. I really like those twisted, strange, and weird stories. And Wildly Betoid is definitely not shy to tell you what she thinks and the kind of characters and story that she wants to create with the story Accidents d'Amour. She really knows what she's doing, and she really goes the whole 9 yards to create something just twisted and strange, and like I said, will really resonate with you after you read it. You're not going to be able to forget about something like that. You'll probably want to, but you're not going to be able to. There was a point when I was reading to myself, and I was reading, and then all of a sudden you read, it's the thing that happens when you read too fast. I was reading it, and then I was like, wait, whoa, what did I just read? So I had to go back and read the previous paragraph, and I was like, holy crap, that, my eyes did not forsake me. I was reading what was really there. It was real. It was legit. So once again, a very nice story, very twisted, very, very strange, but overall, one of those really erotic and strange tales that has some kind of symbolic undertones to it that I really enjoyed. And overall, if you're into the whole, torture porn, I don't like saying that, but if you're into that whole torture book thing like Clive Barker, if you like Stephen King, if you like movies like Saw or Hostel, Splatterpunks 2, Over the Edge is definitely one to check out. And that Accidents d'Amour by Wildly Betoid, the Swiss French author from Switzerland, that's the first book. That's the first short story, and it's a great way to open up the story. It really shows you the diversity. And after that, I've read some of the other short stories, and they just keep getting more and more twisted and strange as they keep going. And anyways, a solid story. I'm going to go ahead and give it a 10 out of 10 because it really made my mind effed up, and it pretty much changed my life because it makes me look at things a little differently after reading that. Anyways, once again, thanks for watching. Part 2, I will talk about the short story that is called... Let me see what it's called here. Part 2, I will talk about the short story by Kavi Koja by the name of Impermanent Mercies. So I'll be looking for that for part 2. Anyways, once again, thanks for watching. Thank you to all my subscribers. Like, comment, subscribe to my page below. And I'll see you guys later with another book discussion video of the book Splatterpunks 2, Over the Edge. See you guys.